What's going on, Jerome's Minnesota Vikings 2024 draft class, as well as UDFAs, have a chance to revolutionize this team as it's been the most transformative offseason in franchise history. Also, future franchise quarterback, talisman on the edge in McCarthy and Diamond Dallas Turner, respectively. So, high expectations, not lowered expectations. The opposite. Raised expectations for this class, and so far through 5 practices, 1 padded, there's some good returns. Now, I understand, don't overreact. Beginning of training camp, let's see him in preseason games, let's see him in the regular season, blah, 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 blah. Fully understand. But it's okay to be just a little bit positive, have some good takeaways from the current sample size. And, of course, can't talk about this rookie class without talking about Kyrie Jackson, 4th rounder out of Oregon / Alabama. Fantastic story and just very, very tragic, gone way too soon. And he's definitely made an impact on this rookie class as well as his team in the short time that he was here. But, I mean, the kid realized his dream. He made it to the NFL. Right? So it's fantastic. But, all right, so don't really have a good pivot from that, but basically just recapping how the Vikings draft picks as well as a couple of the UDFAs have fared so far through camp. So first off, JJ McCarthy. Now, I still don't know if he's going to win the job. I mean, Darnold's had some great moments. He's had some bad moments. I feel like McCarthy's definitely been more consistent, but also you could say, well, he's playing against the twos, but he's also playing with the twos, and also he's gotten quite a few reps against the first-team defense, and there's been some ups and downs, and especially since that Florida's defense is just bringing heat all over the place. But McCarthy, I feel like he looks the part. And even the most staunch haters and the losers have to admit that the Vikings might have something here. But he's been composed, he's been confident, he's decisive, and that's what really matters for a young quarterback. Also, we mentioned the soft skills, getting in and out of the huddle, relaying the play call, getting them lined up, making sure the play clock doesn't wind down, and also making his reads, because a lot of times, even tier 1 college quarterbacks coming in the NFL, everything is just faster, and you're spinning plates and everything is going on at the same time, and sometimes you slow to process. But by and large, McCarthy has been snap, 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 and just getting rid of the ball. Yes, there's been some mistakes. Yes, there's been a pick or two, but you'll take that. I feel like think long, think wrong certainly applies in the National Football League, especially at quarterback, but he looks good. Also, I mean, it's clear that the teammates just love him. Right, and it's clear that he amplifies those around him. He is a force multiplier, and I think that's going to carry through. And I don't rule out that he doesn't win the starting job week 1. I think that there's a good chance. Diamond Dallas Turner. So Turner's going to be a stud, man. The Brian Burns with length. I think that those comparisons are apt, but he's fantastic in coverage. He's obviously great at rushing the passer. He's had some good moments setting the edge against the run. That was the only major concern of his coming in. And he's undersized, but he does have that length, and he's able to long arm a couple of the tackles, and he's a terror out there. Plus, I mean, he's getting some great reps because AVG during OTAs as well as the beginning of training camp was up on block. So Turner's been almost running exclusively with the ones, and he's been getting a baptism from Christian Darrisaw. So, of course, that's going to be an iron sharpens iron matchup for decades. And I love that Turner's picking the brain of Christian Darrisaw, getting more information, what Darrisaw, an elite left tackle, looks for in terms of technique and tells from edge rusher and vice versa. I think it's great. I think that Dallas Turner is going to be really damn fantastic. Now, again, I love me some Danielle Hunter forever, but Turner with Grenard and AVG, it's a hell of a replacement. It's great. And, of course, Kyrie Jackson, rest in power. Walter Rouse, 6th-rounder tackle out of Oklahoma. So he's been interesting because he's basically been second-team left tackle. So Darrisaw's backup through the duration of camp. Now, Quisenberry is in there too, but he's been mostly at backup right tackle. And that's fine because Quisenberry is a veteran, been there, done that, got the T-shirt, has filled in nicely for Darrisaw and O'Neal when he's been asked to. So getting Rouse the reps at left tackle does make sense. And, Kwesi hinted at potentially kicking Rouse inside. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. He's a true blue left tackle and swing tackle, down the line. But he's got size, he's got technique, his experience. 5-year starter, 1 at Oklahoma, as well as 4 at Stanford. So he's a guy. Also, he got super fired up doing the skull chant. Skull. He was fantastic, man. So I think that he's a guy that can turn into a key backup tackle, maybe a little bit more depending on what happens with the age and future of Brian O'Neill. Will Rockford, the other 6th-round pick, I mean, he's just fantastic. All right, so we're trying not to get our heart broken by another SEC kicker taking day 3. But, Reichard is so far just been a nail driver. He's already won the kicking competition with John Parker Romo, and he's got a big-time leg. He's accurate. He's used to big-time pressure kicks and big-time games. He's probably Nick Saban's best kicker ever. So, yeah. Then you get into the 7th round. So, I love me some Michael Juergens. It pushed those down the skin. So, he's an interesting name. So, the Vikings had a type in terms of the offensive line this year in the 6th round and 7th round because Rouse, 5-year starter. Juergens was at Wake Forest for 5-6 years. So, experience is key. And Juergens, coming in, already has plenty of starting experience, a little bit more mature, a little bit more technique refined, and which is great. And Juergens, so he's been running as the 3rd-team center, which I can't wait till preseason. Can't wait to see him in action because I think that he's a guy that could have some staying power. He was a Tier 1 guard, top 5 PFF graded last year at left guard at Wake Forest. But before that, he had 3 years of starting experience at center. So, again, said this a bunch. I think that in a year, maybe 2, depending on what happens with Bradbury's contract, I think that Juergens could be in competition to be the next starter for the Vikings at center. Levi, Drake Rodriguez, fantastic story. All heart, all hustle. Has looked good in some one-on-one spots, but he's been basically lagging with the 3rd team, 4th team. But, that certainly could change as training camp goes along. And also, he's a guy I just want to see in preseason, just blowing up. 3rd or 4th team center is going to be working at Foot Locker in a couple weeks. Just LDR, senior sack. Let's go. A couple of UDFAs. So, should be know that Gabe Murphy, Owen Porter, and Bo Richter all could be on here too. They've all had some fantastic reps. But Murphy, I feel like Murphy's going to be a lock to make the 53, and he could be the 4th, 5th edge, depending on what happens with Patrick Jones second. But would have had a pair of sacks and teamwork in the first pad of practice, and he has speed. He's very adept at getting around the corner, and I think that Turner and Murphy do bring a fantastic edge rushing speed element to this team with this rookie group. Taki Taimani, so he's a 2-gapping, run-stuffing nose tackle, and is that overly sexy? No, but it's something that the Vikings needed, and he's been running with the 2nd team almost exclusively as that nose tackle in the 3-4, but space eater. Not going to get much as a pass rusher, but he could take over that Kairos Tonga type role. And if they actually use the nose tackle this year, that would be fantastic because, as we said before, using Taimani in early down work and having Harrison Phillips off the nose is going to keep him fresher longer later in games and later into the season as he gets a little bit older. So it would make sense. I like Taimani. I actually like his chances to potentially make the 53, but more likely a practice squad with potential for game day call-ups. Dwight McGlothern, I think, is going to make the 53. So McGlothern, he didn't test the greatest. That's why he ended up going undrafted. But he's got great football instincts. He's great at press man. Played at LSU and Arkansas, and I think that he could certainly be a diamond in the rough in this year's rookie group. I think McGlothern's probably going to make the 53, as well as he was rotating in. He's been working with the 2s a lot. He had some first-team reps on Monday as well. So I think that he's a guy, especially given the Vikings' issues at cornerback as of late. I think that he's a guy that could certainly take advantage of this golden opportunity and go from there. And they got Trey Knox, so got some work with the 2s. Been on the receiving end of a couple of J.J. McCarthy touchdowns over the first handful of practices, and obviously they like Nick Muse, but I think Trey Knox isn't going away, and I think that both of them could be competing for one roster spot, whether, probably going to be on the practice squad, given the Vikings go with, Bobby Tonyan and Munt and Oliver as they wait for Hockenson to get back. And like we said, Porter and Richter, both on the edge, have looked really good at times as well. But, I mean, this has a chance to be a very special group of rookies, both the draft picks and the UDFAs. So I think Kwesi finally getting after in 2024, wanting some more, and go from there. But your thoughts on how the rookies have fared so far through 5 practices, first NFL training camp. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.